Hello, good day everyone. So, kumusta man? Kumusta ta? No? So, today we're going to have interactions in intertidal zone. No? So, we're done with the estuaries. So, now diri ata sa mga intertidal zone. So, now let's have this one. Okay. So from estuaries, no, where freshwater meets marine water come the oceans. An ocean is so vast that they serve as home for different kinds of organisms. So it means that uh, ocean is vast, no. Dako ang ocean, no. It is divided into three major zones, no, namely in the intertidal zone, um, the neritic zone, and the oceanic zone. So here. So intertidal and neritic zones are the parts of the ocean that are more exposed in sunlight. No? Thus, producers in these zones are able to grow and provide food for other organisms. So karang intertidal zones, no? So as you see sa illustration dia, as you see sa picture, so look at the intertidal zone, no? So mao na siyang naka-expose sa sun, exposed sila sa sun, and then producers, no, they were able producers are able to grow, no, in that on that area. So sa baga pa, so sige. Okay, so sila tong naka-expose, no. So tanaw na to ang tanaw kung atong tanawon diha. Okay, so next tayo, no, the oceanic zone, no. So kining oceanic zone, no, oceanic zone is further subdivided into betial, and ab- abyssal zones, no. So there are more consumers than producers in the oceanic zone because of light penetration. So ang mas daghan dia sa oceanic zone are mga consumers than producers. So sila to mga secondary or tertiary nga mga consumers, no. So tan-aw na to diha, no, abyssal and the betial zone, no. So lalom siya, no. So in betial zone, okay. Okay, so in betial zone, the light coming from the sun penetrates the zone partially. So dili kay siya maigo sa sun, no, sa sunlight. Okay, light cannot penetrate the water in the abyssal zone, no, because of this. There are only a few organisms that thrive in abyssal zone. So look at the abyssal zone, no. So sila na gitong naa sa pinakalalom na gina na part, pinakalalom na siya na part, no. So sa betial, napay partial, no, na makapenetrate ang sun, but in the abyssal zone, so dili gid ka penetrate ang init ito, or ang sunlight. So that's why only few organism live or thrive in the abyssal zone, no. So kamay to ano, so like the oarfish, no. So oarfish pwede makaanha diha. Okay, so the intertidal zone, no. So it is basically the seashore, no, where tides mark the sun or land, no. It is the shallowest part of the ocean, no. It is subjective to the changing tides of the ocean. So basically, seashores, yeah. Okay, an intertidal zone is the area where land meets the ocean, no. It is also known as the littoral zone, no. So ang intertidal zone po, no, it rocky intertidal areas, no. The part where the tides creates a splash with the rocks is called the spray zone, no. Intertidal zone can be divided into three zones, namely the high intertidal, the middle, and the lower intertidal, no. So the high intertidal zone, no, most of the time the high intertidal zone is exposed in sunlight. it is only submerged in water during high tide. No, it is exposed out of the water for most of the time. So ang high intertidal zone, no, so um most of the time, no, siya ang exposed siya sa sunlight, and then mo submerge lang siya if water during a high tide, no, mo submerge siya, no, during high tide. Next, no, the middle intertidal zone. No, the middle intertidal zone, on the other hand, is submerged in the water for a longer period of time than that of the high intertidal zone. No, it is commonly exposed during low tide. So kung low tide, diha lang siya ma-expose. Ang low intertidal zone po, no, the area which is generally submerged in water is the lower intertidal zone. No, it is the only exposed during the lowest tide of the year. No, kung lowest tide, no, of the year. Okay, so tanaw nito ang spray. So look at the spray. Then ang high tide zone. So tanaw nimo. Then the middle tide zone. So and then the low zone. No. So here, no, due to different subzones, no, intertidal zone serves as home for different kinds of organisms. Okay, so these organisms have gone adaptations for the changing water level, waves, moisture, and temperature brought by the change in tides or waves. No, so animals such as shrimps, clams, and barnacles have shells to adapt in this environment. No, they attach themselves to rocks to withstand. Sorry, the changing tides of the zone. No? Crabs, on the other hand, burrows themselves into the sand. No? Some hide under the rocks. No? Producers like algae, seaweeds, sea grasses, and sea lettuce also attach themselves to through their roots to rocks in order to fight the changing tides. No? So due to Okay, so these producers are able to do photosynthesis and serve as food for consumers to survive in water, survive in surface water. Phytoplankton, no, can also observe in intertidal zones. No, so in the other video, we have talked about the phytoplanktons. They are tiny organisms which can float on the surface of the water. They are also capable of photosynthesis. No, they can manufacture their food. Okay, other organisms that thrive in the intertidal zone includes the mussels, sea urchins, sea stars, snails, sponges, no, sea anemones, and kelps. Okay, so these producers serve as food for consumers to survive in water. No, phytoplankton, no, can also be observed in intertidal zone. No, so diha pa lang sa intertidal zone, so makita tong mga phytoplanktons, mga producers, no, mostly. So next tayo. So being surrounded by seas, Philippines islands are bounded by intertidal zone. No? So here in the Philippines, no, um, we are bounded by intertidal zones. No, famous place for stories and also intertidal zones is in Palawan. No, so Palawan, no, it is a place where there are diversity of living creatures, no, na yung mga nindot diha na mga stories, no? The complex diversity of organisms found in intertidal zones make up the rich interactions of living and non-living things in the zone, no? Because of the diversity, no, sa kadaghan nila. Diversity of atong mga estuaries, no, sa mga intertidal zones, no. So where the living and non-living things, no, they have the interaction. Next, no, interactions in the intertidal zone community. No, phytoplanktons and zooplanktons are carried by the rising tides and ocean waves. So, if there are tides, no, so kada mga phytoplanktons, no, nagakuan sila, no, ginahampak sila, madala sila, mapadpad sila kung asa. Many primary consumers in the intertidal community filter feeders, no, shield animals like barnacles, limpets, shrimps, mussels, and clams are primary consumers. No, they take in seawater and filter the phytoplanktons, zooplanktons, and other materials that are carried by the water. Some animals that are secondary consumers are more active hunters and feeders, like whelks, sea anemone, starfish, and crabs. No, those animals have special body parts that allow them to hunt or trap, catch, and eat their prey. No, so these secondary consumers are unique. No, in the water. No, so um, because they have abilities, no, so nasa yung mga abilities on how to catch their prey, no, on how to catch kung saan nila mga makakaon sila, no, so so that's why they are unique organisms, no, so wait lang ha. So key points. So an intertidal zone is the area where land meets the ocean. Organisms in intertidal zones have adaptations like shells, muscular feet, suction feet, burrowing behavior in order to stay and survive in their habitat. Food web in intertidal zones we start with phytoplanktons, no, because we know that phytoplanktons are no, phytoplanktons, they are the producers, no, sila to mga nag-produce. Okay, so many primary consumers are fertile feeders and can be detrivores as well. More mobile animals are commonly the second consumers. No, intertidal zones now functions as feeding sites for birds and fish and apex consumers in intertidal zones. No, so that's the end of our topic, and hoping you learn and you understand our discussion. No, so if you have questions, no, just a comment, no, so that sa next video na to ato ana siyang masabutan, no, ato ana siyang maistoryahan. Okay, so thank you and God bless.